Virgo, well, you have beaten me to it. Well done. It's great to see you just in time for your Virgo May 2020 reading. And it's good to see you. And that'll do. Good to see my subscribers back again. It's always good to see you. You know I send you energy each week. And of course, I've done readings privately for a couple of you, haven't I? And it's been great to get to know you better that way. And of course, if you'd like to have a private reading, just check out the information that's in the description box. That will make it all abundantly clear and shows you how easy it is to let that become a reality. But now we're going to do some tarot, and we're going to do some playing cards, and first an energy card, I think. And we'll see that there is in store. Now these energy cards, I don't very often use them, but they're very good at giving me an insight into the shadow self of the person. Now the shadow self isn't anything to be afraid of. I mean, it's not malevolent or anything like that. The shadow self is, just as the name implies, something that the light doesn't usually shine on. And, well, why don't I? There it is. Freedom. So it's just something that the light doesn't ordinarily shine upon. And so it is there to be looked at this month. Now I'm going to use a tarot deck from a lady in San Francisco, an artist who I saw her art and I really liked it. That's the Four of Swords. And I thought, gee, I wonder what it would be like with a tarot deck. And the tarot deck that she produced is this one. There's the moon. And I just find that I have a very good reaction to it, to be honest. It evokes very clear and simple messages for me and therefore for you. There's the Ace of Cups. That's great. See the beautiful watercolors being used in this. Now, ordinarily, I'm not a watercolor type of a guy. I like that sort of medieval and Renaissance type art, you know, with people hanging around and eating and drinking. But these I do. And what was that? That was Justice. And this art, I think, is particularly appealing. So there that is. And there's the Magician. Well, that's great for you. Now, 3 playing cards. Probably the last time I'll use the playing cards in a while. Next month I might use the Thoth Tarot deck, if I remember. And the Thoth Tarot deck has a huge amount of, there's the 6 of Diamonds, a huge amount of really deep esoteric and mystical imagery. Interestingly, depicted in it, the artist in the deck was an Englishwoman, Lady Frida Harris, and she painted the deck basically after having been given the general overview of what should go in the card by a guy called Aleister Crowley, who was the developer of the book that went along with it. There's the 7 of Clubs. These images are quite nice, and there's the 9 of Hearts. Okay, well, why don't you come and sit down next to me? We'll have a good close look at these cards together, and I'll do the reading for you. Okay, let's start with this first card here, shall we? Freedom. Do you know, most people think that they are not free. They feel they are in chains and that they live in chains. And in some respects, the economic system that we use to organize our society does tend to push us into the way of serfdom or servitude. But remember, who are you? Who are you? Strip away the personality. Strip away the environment that you live in. Strip away the clothes you wear. Even strip away the body that you inhabit. And you are still there. You. Who is that person? That person is unable to die. That person is unable to be affected by what goes on in life. What we should do is look at life as if we are watching a movie, and that the body that we have is a character in the movie, and thinking, oh, I wonder what's going to happen to so-and-so. how are they going to deal with this situation? And step back and understand that at all times you are loved, you are beloved of the divinity, and you will be returning there. You are always free, but here on earth we need to go through the problems that earth throws up and come up with solutions for them. What does freedom mean for you? That's often the hardest thing that people have to deal with. We talk about it, but what does it actually comprise of? How is it comprised? I want to have a look at this card here first, the Justice card, and let's have a look at the interesting imagery on it. Here we have a mermaid really kissing a fish, and the fish has legs. They both have what the other wants. The fish wants its tail, the mermaid wants her legs. Quite an interesting depiction, don't you think? I think what I have here is Venus ruling Libra with Saturn exalted. Now, Libra emphasizes that the energy of this card, where it is positioned in this lower left-hand corner, is really all about balance and equilibrium, and there is a sense of karmic cause and effect, I think, going on in your life at the moment. Really, it's about justice, balance, adjusting to the situation around you. It's about the suspension of normal action. It's about pending decisions and objectivity, standing back and looking to things. Now, it can refer to things like contracts. Sometimes lawsuits can come up in this situation here. And if you are involved in those, I think that they will. It's important to stand back and look at things objectively to see what your actual circumstances are. I think that this is a time really for you where you have the opportunity, and very rarely do we have this opportunity to do this, but you now have the opportunity to stand back and take stock of your life to see what is useful and what should be let go. Think clearly about your life ahead, and be aware, of course, that all actions have consequences. I think you'll be in the situation of getting a clear vision of possibilities and the choices ahead of you, and applying your insights so far to bring about a balanced life. I think that this is really a chance for you during this time to discover and then follow your true path and what gives it the most meaning. I'd have this thought in mind, and it is, I am balanced and centered. I honor my word. I value being truthful in different situations and in difficult situations. The abundance and beauty of nature is a reflection of my own nature. I am at rest in my own center. That's really, I think, what is being given to you during this period. Now, this is interesting that it should be capped by this Four of Swords. And let's have a look at the Four of Swords, given that we were saying that you had the opportunity at this time to stand back to almost a period where you do get the ability to stand back and to see what it is that's bringing things into your life. We now have the Four of Swords. Here we have what I assume is the Queen of Swords, or her doppelganger as well, the two of them joined at the head. Here's three swords, and the fourth sword she holds over her heart. Now, this is, for me, the lady of rest from problems. The lady of rest from problems. It is where it's placed, up on this top right-hand corner. I really see it as being Jupiter ruling the third decan of Libra, that 14th to the 22nd of of October. Now, as we just discussed, Libra tries to find balance in our lives. But the need for balance can sometimes induce unrest. And in my experience, I think that Libra can sometimes induce indecisiveness. But Jupiter in Libra, well, Jupiter gives a period of rest to you from a difficult situation, as well as opening your higher mind's flexibility, which is needed to resolve conflicts in life. Jupiter also allows you to move on from things. I think what we have here is your mind negotiating some temporary resolution of things at the moment. There could well be an expansion in your thinking taking place. And I think what we can also say about this is that, as I say, this is a rest period here, and this is also talking about the time that you have now to take out from what is a stressful situation, really, and it's an opportunity for you to have a mental health break. Now, conflicts won't necessarily go away, but time out from them is needed. Now, make the most of this mental health break. But don't put off what needs to be done, as unavoidable things can grow to become bigger and more challenging, but trust your intuition to know when is enough rest for you. Make the most of this break to be at your strongest when you need to be to face the issues that are at hand. And I think I'd also say to myself that I am at peace with myself, and check your surroundings and rearrange them to support calm and centeredness. Jupiter, as I say, is very much also in this position and in this energy here, one of letting go, of moving on, if I can put it that way. And moving on, I think, sometimes from feelings of guilt or down-talking ourselves about things that we have done in the past. And so I think it's important to say this, which is coming through, and it is this, that despite what you may believe, you can disappoint people and still be good enough. You can make mistakes and still be capable and talented. You can let people down and still be worthwhile and deserving of love. Everybody has disappointed someone that they care about. Everybody messes up, lets people down, or makes mistakes, not because we are inadequate, not because we are fundamentally inept, but because we are imperfect and we are fundamentally human, and expecting anything different is setting yourself up for failure. Remember, nobody is perfect. What might we have here? Let's have a look at this card. The Moon. Well, the imagery is quite interesting, and it will mean something to you, I'm sure. The Moon. Well, for me, it is Neptune in Pisces with Venus exalted. And the question is it a reality or is it an illusion? This is the ruler of the flux and reflux, the child of the sons of the mighty. Neptune in Pisces. Well, Pisces is very much associated with the subconscious, with emotions, intuition, and artistry. And this is the last of the major arcana, I think, to be associated with a zodiac sign. Pisces also is the last of the zodiac signs. Neptune in Pisces, well, Neptune's watery depths are associated with dreams, with visions and the imagination, which links it in, I think, with the qualities of the moon. There is, I think, in this card, the possibility that you may be going through some sort of mental confusion about something, a lack of clarity, that there is a deception, perhaps. I actually think you'll have an increased psychic awareness during this period. But I think that this is suggesting a time when something in your life is not as it appears to be, a situation that is deceiving. There's something underneath it, something below the surface. Now you kind of might, in relation to a particular issue, feel lost and unsure about which way to go, almost as if you're lost in the dark with no signposts pointing the way. But this can often represent the shadow self, the subconscious or the hidden self, harboring negativity which you have suppressed or not become aware of even. And these other cards were talking about that this is a time to delve deep, and here we have this influence of Jupiter talking about moving on. Now, I have Neptune in Pisces in this card, but interestingly, in classical astrology, Jupiter is also, or is, the classical ruler of Pisces. And so I'm getting very much this feeling of moving on from you. And it's possible that there are feelings from childhood that have been repressed, or which are leaving a negative impact on your current situation. Neptune relates to illusion, what is reality, and I think that you will be developing a spiritual side here. This is sort of phases and cycles in the same way that the moon goes through. Interestingly, this can be a very sexualized card, and a very erotic relationship can come about. And I'll just be aware of that. It's nothing to be afraid of at all. In fact, it's something to be desired, isn't it? Well, speaking of desire, here we have the Ace of Cups. Now, the Ace of Cups, this is suggesting to me that people who may well be important to you during this period are Scorpio, Sagittarius, or Libra. Yeah, that's what I'm getting around it. The ace is the suit, is the seed of the suit. It's the seed of the element. And therefore, the aces represent potential of life directions. Now, with relationships, you might be seeking to become whole by finding in others what you lack by yourself. This is, in a sense, a period, I think, of great emotional abundance for you. A new relationship can develop. Now, that doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It can be a business relationship. It can be a platonic relationship. It's also very good for people who are involved in sales, this card. It can talk about sensual passion. And emotional balance is available to be used and drawn upon by you, I think, for the rest of the year. Now, the Cup suit, of course, embodies the experiences of relationships, the pursuit of happiness, love, fulfillment, pleasure. But, of course, we can't have these things without the opposites. This is the lord of the root of the powers of water. It's about overflowing love and emotional clarity. In a sense, this is the feminine counterpart of the Ace of Wands. There is also here, I think, a deep love of the self. So it seems to me that weeding of the mental garden that you will be doing, I think, that these other cards have suggested, is going to produce in you the effect which is intended by these messages, that you come to peace with yourself. The cup of unconditional love is being offered to you. Will you drink from it? a good opportunity for new relationships, but also, of course, for new romances. Now, it can indicate a pregnancy and a birth. And it is saying that you should give and forgive unconditionally to get inner peace. Let this card work on you for a while. What is your way of expressing love? Because you now are in contact with all-embracing love. It fills you and you can pass it on generously, lavishly to others. And you should be confident that all-encompassing love fills you and your environment. Let's now look at the Magician, and what an interesting character he is. Well, there is the man with four arms, really reminiscent of a Hindu god, isn't he? In each of his hands there, he has the symbols of the four suits of the tarot, and they are, of course, the sword, the disc, the staves or wand, as I call it in here, and there, of course, is the cup. This is a man who is, well, it's actually androgynous, really. It's androgynous. It's female and male. It's a spirit. So it's kind of neither male or female, but it is both male and female. It's coming into life. It's come from the spiritual plane. It's come across the void and it's become encased in flesh, and it's here. And has no preconceived ideas about how it should conduct itself in this life. This is the magus of power. It represents infinity, the state of being, if I can even use the word being, that exists beyond the three veils of negative existence. The thing here is that this is a time for you to create something in your life and bring it into fruition. I mean, it's really telling you that this is a time when you can start to do this, you know? You have a strong desire to begin something new. This card is about manifesting your goals by using the tools that you have. And look what he's got. He's got that. He's using these things and moving forward. That's the symbology of it. And I think the advice is to focus on a specific goal, not to spread your resources thinly. And have good motives and intentions. And if you do have good motives and intentions, then things will happen. This is about action, power, manifestation of ideas and desire, willpower. I think you might be something of a smooth talker during this period. You will have, as the Irish say, the gift of the gab, and there's very strong energy around here dealing with self-employment or of finding ways to make money by yourself. You'll have a great sense of timing and flexibility in all aspects of communication. This is particularly good for people who are involved in any artistic pursuit or in diplomacy, procurement, public relations. You will have a good ability to see other people's communication patterns so as to work out what it is that they actually do mean. So you'll be able to look behind the words. I think maybe visualize your ideal area of activity and describe it. And have this thought in mind, which is, I create magic when I use my inherent gifts and talents. I honor the resources of skilled communication, because these things are natural gifts of mine and they reside within me. The full expression of my creative potential fulfills me and makes me happy and satisfied. Well, shall we have a look at these playing cards? As I say, it's probably the last time I'll use them for 2 or 3 months, because I'll be using some other decks that take up more time. Now, this is the Six of, well, I just bashed my head into it. who would I sue? I'd have to sue myself, and I'd probably lose. There's the Six of Diamonds. Look, sixes for me very much relate to transitions, things having to be left behind, new things to be done, movement, balance. This is a card of financial responsibility, and I think it indicates you taking full responsibility for organizing your financial debts, handling your money, or for the need to start budgeting your finances. Now, you may well get help from family in relation to material matters. And money could be spent, I think, on things like paying off a car, for example, is what I see as money going out, bridging. But it's taking you to something better, you see. Now, here is the Seven of Clubs. Sevens very much are about turning back in on your thoughts, about introspection, about consequences to be received or to be paid. The Seven of Clubs, also solitude. I get very much also around this card here, where it's placed with you, the feeling of solitude and thinking about things. It can refer to a confinement. It can talk about opposition to plans possibly occurring, and there could be someone, a third party sometimes, trying to interfere with a romantic situation, which you may hear of, someone else trying to interfere in it. Look, I have seen it, depending on what other cards around it, enlivening the feeling where one is trapped in a relationship. Now, be careful from trouble from the opposite sex when this card appears. And although I know it wouldn't happen to you, but sometimes just be careful of gambling or other addictions which can sometimes come to the fore where that is played out. But look, in all honesty, I think that you have such good things here with this Nine of Hearts, because this nine really is talking about fulfillment. It's talking about something has finished or has been obtained. And it can signal helping others, and it's usually for a deepening love, the perfect partner or child. And in pretty well all respects, I would actually say that this is very often what I call the wish card, where the things that you desire will in fact come about. That's the way it is for you this month. Well, there we go, May 2020, and I really enjoyed doing that reading for you, and I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did. Do you know, you were fantastic during that reading, as you always are, and the only thing that's left for me to say really is this, and that is that you are a legend, and I look forward to seeing you again next month, and until then, bye for now.